We're going through all the video tutorials on the Singer Elite ME457, but sewing on buttons is done just as simple as selecting a zigzag on just about any Singer sewing machine. Now we've just finished teaching how to make buttonholes, so I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. We were just kind of trying out different stitch lengths to get the right look, but it's so easy when you just pull this down, not the needle threader, the one little behind it, push it and let it do the whole thing. And what is it doing? It's actually tracing around the size of button that I want the buttonhole to be. So that's super easy. So let's just take this button out of the foot, close up the foot, and let's talk about what we need to actually use to sew this button in place. So the first thing we need to do is actually select a zigzag. Now, how wide of a zigzag? I'll give you a little hint. Number one, it is about 3.5 millimeters for most buttons of the distance between the eyes. Next, you can go ahead and set the length to 0, but what I'm going to do next will make this not matter what the dial is. I am a fan of lowering the feed dogs because right now at 0 stitch length they are still going to go up and down, not move it through, but up and down means it might move my button. So if you actually slide the accessory box off, reach behind your machine, we have a video about lowering feed dogs, but back here is a lever. You're going to push the lever to the right, and as you push it to the right, kind of hear a click, and the teeth are lowered. Now, leave yourself a little sticky note or something to make sure that those are brought back up when you're done sewing buttons on. So if it's like 3 weeks or 3 months later, you won't be wondering why your sewing machine isn't sewing. Now, here's a note about feed dogs. When you go to bring them back up, nothing happens. So I slid the lever this way. They are still down. All you have to do is physically turn that hand wheel and take a stitch, or just to start to sew, either way. But I'm going to go ahead and push them back so they stay down. Slide this back on, and we can use a regular presser foot. You can use, I'm going to use the clear foot because that's what came with this machine. But if you'll notice that in a recent video on a different machine, we actually were using the button sew-on foot with those little blue toes. And that is a foot that you can get for this machine, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to just switch this because I kind of caught my thread, and I don't want it to be caught in the foot. There we go. But that will make it so it's really easy to see your holes that you are guiding yourself to stitch through, and there's really no guesswork. But being that you have this clear foot, we're going to go with that. So what you want to do is, as you've picked your zigzag, right now your needle is either a little bit more on the left or a little bit more on the right. And for me right now, it's a little bit more on the left side. So I'm going to position my button underneath the hole where I can drop the needle into the left hole. Then lower the presser foot down, and if your button eyes aren't totally parallel, just adjust it so it is, and then go ahead and take a stitch by hand. That way you can tell whether you're all lined up or if you need to adjust it a little bit. Now, how many stitches to take? You can go 8 to 10 stitches, and you will find that will probably be more than sufficient. This button actually has 4 holes, so I'm going to just slide back. Right now my needle's a little bit more on the right side, so I'm going to sink it down on the right, hand turn it, make it go down on the left side, and we'll do 8 to 10 more stitches. And that is all it takes to stitch a button on. It's absolutely that easy. So try out sewing buttons on. Remember, we were at a 3.5 stitch width with our feed dogs lowered, and before I forget, I'm going to go right back behind the machine and bring those feed dogs right back up. I push the lever to this side, and then that way I don't forget the next time I do the next video that the feed dogs are down. So this is super easy to sew buttons on, easy to do buttonholes. I hope you'll check out all the videos. You can start binge watching them from the beginning using the link in the description. And we have lots of great tips and tricks to using this particular machine or just about any Singer machine flawlessly from the day you pick it up.